Hi everyone. Welcome to this segment of the Stardust Festival. We are receiving Tapaswini Sharma, who is an Indian student who works with several international organizations, uh, including Habitat Marte, the Space God Foundation, and the Jacques Rougerie Foundation. She is keenly interested in space activities and has worked on several projects related to spacecrafts and future space habitats. Um, you can go ahead.
Okay, great. Hello, everyone. I'm Tapaswini Sharma from India. And before I begin, I would like to thank Ms. Artemis Westenberg and the entire team of Stardust Festival for giving me this wonderful opportunity of sharing my experience with the students and adults present here. I am honored to be a speaker at the Stardust Festival. A little bit about me. I am Tapaswini Sharma, a university student pursuing IT. I'm from India and I am an analog astronaut with Habitat Mart, a research intern at the Spaceport Foundation, a scholar in residence at iJoined, and a member of Board of Advisors at ETHRO. I love space science and all its components. I love music, I love dance, poetry, creative writing, and numerous other things. I also like to talk, meet new people, learn about them, and socialize. But I wasn't always like this. So allow me to take you on a little journey about space, curiosity, confidence, self doubt, and changing environments that changed my life. And I hope it'll help make a difference in yours too. Imagine this: planets, solar systems, stars, clusters of stars, the universe, the multiverse, space travel, teleportation. Sounds exciting, doesn't it? Now think of a shy, timid girl in the corner of a library, hiding her face in a book. These are both me. I have always imagined a future full of innovations and new possibilities. In my childhood, my drawing of my vision for the year 2050 was a flying car that could take us to space. How fun would it be to escape to Mars whenever we received our report cards? I'm only kidding. But concealing this rich imagination was a shy middle school girl who did not have the confidence to describe her imagination. She was timid and scared of what the others might have to say about her opinions. Her only escape was books, loads and loads of books about fictitious characters, mysteries, science fiction, maybe horror, and whatnot. My personal favorites were Percy Jackson and the works of Paulo Coelho. And in all these books that I read, I had this common habit. There was something really common, and that was that in all of these books, I would idolize the characters who were bold, confident, and opinionated. There was this girl in Percy Jackson named Annabeth Chase who never had any problem voicing her opinions and standing for what she believed in. And I always thought I wanted to be someone like that. So my passion for reading also eventually spread to encyclopedias. My first one being about rocket propulsion. So, do you know what a rocket propellant is? It is the material used by the engine of the rocket to generate thrust. Now, most rocket engines turn the fuel into hot gas. The engine pushes the gas out its back, and the gas makes the rocket move forward. As I read about the different rocket fuels, I learned about a new competition. It was to design a rocket that would not only take humans to space, but also be their habitat for generations. Now, naturally, this piqued my curiosity, and I decided to give it a try to participate. It was the year of 2014, and I led the group of 6 people to build this rocket ship. I named it Elpis, the spirit of hope in Greek mythology. But ironically, despite the hard work, dedication, and perseverance, we did not have much hope in our project. This was our first international competition, and we had no idea what to expect. We were waiting in anticipation, and I love to participate in different competitions. Part of the reason why is the anticipation before the results are out. So I was partly nervous and partly excited. And after weeks of anticipation, I found myself jumping in my room at midnight on a weekday. We received an honorable mention from NASA. I was stoked. This was a major success for me, and this was also my first international win. So, to commemorate that, I decided to travel to ISTC in 2015 with my team. Now, I can confidently say that something that I have in common with most, if not all of you present here, is the special place that Canada holds in my heart. It is not only the destination of my first international trip, but also my first space conference. The ISTC 2015 was held in Toronto, Ontario. It was the Disneyland of space enthusiasts. The princesses' castles were the conference rooms where the real magic happened. No, really. So many young minds being inspired by the dynamic intellectuals present and talking about space travel, habitats, exploring the cosmos, interstellar travel. It was so much different from any regular conference. I was enchanted by one such conference about girls in space with 3 women leaders and incredible role models: Miss Janet Ivey, Miss Lorna Jean Edmonds, and Miss Anushya Ansari. I remember I woke up at 8 a.m. and left to attend the talk. They talked about how to encourage girls in STEAM and how to send them to space. And I stood in a corner listening to their talk. I stood fixated in my spot as I marveled at their words and told the lady standing next to me, whose name is Judy, about my space for love, of my love for space. She suggested I go talk to the speakers, and so I did. And this one talk helped me transform my life. It was with Miss Janet Ivey, and we talked about our shared love for space. I no longer felt the shy girl who I thought I was. Instead, I felt strong, confident, intelligent, and smart. She told me smart is the most beautiful thing you can be, and I still remember that. And in that moment, as I stood talking to her, there was no self doubt in me about my potential and intellect. That is how space first helped me become a confident girl, and made me realize that once you embrace your talents, strengths, and creativity, there will be no room left for self doubt. After the ISDC was over, I went on a tour of the city of Toronto and visited the Ripley's Aquarium, the zoo, the museum, the science center, Casa de Loma, the beautiful Niagara Falls, and CN Tower, where I also did the edge walk, standing 356 meters above the ground with only a harness tied to me. Oh, how thrilling it was! We even watched a baseball game momentarily from that distance, and as the baseball game came to an end, so did our trip. I was a little sad about going back, ending the experience, but I was thankful for all the memories I made. Following the trip, I had a lot more confidence in myself. A change in your surroundings or your environment may affect you in different ways. So when I went back to school, it was difficult to find that confident girl that I had transformed into at the ISTC. I was back in school, I was um, back to being shy, and I had no idea why that was happening. During my last year of middle school, I was called to the conference room. It was a regular conference room with some of my batchmates, a counselor, our principal, and me. We were all seated and then told that we cannot continue in our current school board due to our grades. Now, for your reference, India has different boards for education. So there's a state board, which is different for all states. There's a central board, and there are different international boards. And these boards have their own syllabus or curricula, which the student has to study. During that meeting in the conference room, I was told that I can no longer continue to learn science and that science is not made for all. They further emphasized that not every child can be what they wish to be, and that we should change our boards and hence our subjects and finish the remaining years. Now, from all of my life experiences until now, I have learned that this is the most untrue thing that has ever been said. Sadly, I've also learned that a lot of students in schools and universities have to face such a situation where they are told that they can't do it, it's not for them, or they can't make it. Believe me when I say that you are not alone and you can do it. Any subject is made for any subject is made for you as long as you have the love and passion for it. So, arriving back home that day, I narrated the events to my parents and told them that I will not be going back to school. They were quite shocked to hear what had happened at school that day. Now I'm thankful to have supportive parents who encouraged me to be my own decision maker. The next thing is we are in this chaotic phase of searching for a new school. We eventually found one, and right from the first day of my new school, and I'm not even exaggerating, I was back to my confident, outspoken, and curious self. A few weeks went by, and I was leading the class in debates, in competitions, and whatever there was to do. All it took for me was a change in my environment and my thinking. I would often worry about what the others might say and how they would perceive my actions. And when I stopped doing that, it helped me become the leader and the confident person that I always admired to be. If you approach your insecurities and doubts with optimism, you'll see that cosmos is the limit. The change in the environment with my supportive teachers and peers allowed me to be the better version of myself and live to the fullest. I was now getting straight A's, participating in new competitions every other week, receiving awards and recognition. So I decided to take up the challenge again. This time, I decided to design an autonomous rocket ship individually, without any guidance or without any support, to see how further I could reach myself. I did make it, and I named it Kirithra Orbis, which is a spherical honeycomb. And it did get selected by NASA yet again, and I couldn't have been prouder. I was also interviewed on national television for my achievements, and all of this was less than 2 years after I changed my environment and my perspective. High school went by in a flash, and in 2020, we were hit by the unexpected pandemic. With schools, universities, and most institutions facing the lockdown, millions around the globe stayed at home with nothing to do. That's when I found and was invited to attend the Janus Planet Online Astronaut Academy. The JP Astronaut Academy was started in 2020 by Miss Janet Ivy, and it quickly became one of my favorite classes ever. In a world that was filled with panic and worry, the Astronaut Academy provided a safe haven for all the students who were curious enough to learn. We had new speakers every day, be it talking to astronaut Dawn, learning how to make paper planes, learning about the Outer Space Treaty, exploring creative writing and literature with Cindy Crawford, learning about astrobiology, music, acting, space travel. Every one of them was magnificent. There, I also met Miss Artemis Westenberg, Miss Rhonda Stevenson, Mr. Steve Sherman, and Mr. Sean Case, who taught me to not be afraid of being myself and to be bold and authentic. The Academy soon became a family and continues to be a family for all of us students, with all our mentors as our space parents. It allowed me to not be afraid to learn something new every day and embrace the opportunities that come my way. Then, in December 2021, I received my chance to be an analog astronaut. I was part of an analog mission organized by Habitat Mart. In simple terms, an analog astronaut plays the role of an astronaut in a stimulating mission on Earth. Now, there are not enough resources to carry out every desired experiment in outer space. Thus, we carry out these experiments on analog sites. These sites are in locations that have certain geographical similarities to space environments. Now, analog missions are actively pursued to prepare for future space missions and give a better understanding of human limitations, strengths, unexpected challenges in space exploration. And these experiments include radiation protection, isolation, equipment failures, resource management, gravity fields, hostile environment, and new technologies. During my time with Habitat Mart and during my analog mission, we learned about the different types of analog missions and how they're carried. We learned about their sites, how they survive, how they test the different missions, and how they select different experiments to carry out. As part of my training, I was also tasked with the challenge of designing an autonomous healthcare facility on Mars that could exist as a future habitat. If you would like to view it, you can do so on YouTube. It was an incredible experience, and I would love to go back. Now, circling back to our topic of rocket fuels, every rocket needs fuel to launch and propel itself. Like rockets, humans are all autonomous entities that get affected by the environment they are in. So my advice to everyone watching this will be to trust in yourself, believe in your abilities, and propel towards your goals. Do not be afraid of challenges that test your limits. Be your own judge, and do not let others' opinions bring you down. To me, my role models, family, mentors, they were all my rocket fuel. They continue to support me in reaching my dreams. To all the students and everyone in general listening to me, find your rocket fuel, something that will let you move forward and keep you going towards your goal until you reach your destination. Thank you.
Thank you so much for a very inspiring speech. Um, I'd like to ask you one question myself, and I'll ask maybe if there's any chat people want to ask. Where do you see yourself going, starting from now in the future?
Um, that's a really good question, and the thing is, I see myself learning more about space. And when I say space, I mean all the different fields that are in space. So right now, I'm learning about space law. I'm learning about women's health in space. I'm learning about astronomy, astrobiology, and I would like to keep learning more about everything that is associated with space exploration. Going forward, I hope I can design more space habitats and potentially make a future out of it.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. I've got a comment in the chat. I don't know if you can see it, but tells you to never give up. And I think also very good advice. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.